Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Living to Do review of Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 16, Weighing the Decision. So tonight, we have the couples spending the last couple of days together as a married couple. First, we'll talk about Brett and Ryan. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to say. We first see Ryan. He's playing tennis with a friend, and he's talking about that he didn't want to hurt Brett by downloading the dating app. He doesn't regret being on Married at First Sight, but he does. He hates being the reason that the relationship's not working. He could have been more respectful, he said. His friend says and mentions that he's not the best communicator. And that's coming from a friend, a male friend. So he sees that characteristic in Ryan, and Ryan knows that himself. He just wasn't ready for this process. And in the process, he managed to hurt somebody who didn't deserve to be hurt. We cut to, the next scene is Brett packing, and she says that Ryan already packed his stuff. Brett talks to her sister about the relationship. She says she can't take responsibility for Ryan's actions. True. I'm glad that Brett's not letting this weigh heavy in her heart or her head, because she's not the problem. She says that Ryan wanted a ready-made marriage, and this just wasn't that. This was something you had to build upon, and it just didn't work out for the two of them. One of their last scenes together, Ryan comes back to the apartment. I don't know why. I guess he left a couple more things. I guess it was an excuse to come back for filming. And what he really wanted to do was to apologize to Brett. And in a lot of ways, he's a hunter. He's that manly man. But one thing he can't be man about is to look her in the eye and give a heartfelt apology. He didn't. He wanted to get it off his chest, and he did. He did apologize to her. He tells in his conversational that he thinks very highly of Brett. And I don't know. He just says, thank you for not hating me when he left. Was it all about you? I know you wanted to get that off your chest, and that was good that you did. The way you did it, you could have been more man about it. There's just definitely areas for him to work on. He did apologize. She did accept it. Brett is a good sport, but it wasn't worth her hurting her feelings this way, this whole process. I wish she had a better partner, because she deserved a better partner. For this couple, we know that's not going to be a yes on decision day. So, thanks for playing. Okay, let's talk about Bao and Johnny next. We see that Bao is meeting with her friend. I believe you pronounce her name On. They're having lunch, and they're talking about their marriage, or her marriage to Johnny, and the biggest downfall was the big fights that they had. She's also told Anne that that Sarah and Johnny, her husband, both betrayed her. It was a double whammy. She notices a difference in Bao. She thinks Bao is more negative. They do play back a montage of Bao and Johnny having happier times. And Anne mentions that every day going forward in a marriage is decision day. I was thinking, do you guys agree with that? I mean, it's conditional love then? because if you do something wrong, you're out, and there should be an out because you could do something terribly wrong. So every day in a marriage is decision day. Johnny meets up with his friends Jarek and Kenny. Um, Johnny tells him that he's not looking forward to decision day. He said at the start of the honeymoon, that's when things started going south. And then they do say some little things about the baby. I mean, they don't, but they kind of show some parts about their what had happened during their marriage. His friend Jarek thinks that Johnny looks distraught. Johnny's just playing games. His friend Kenny says he should give the marriage a little bit more time. If you knew it like we knew it, time's up. Later we see Bao and Johnny. They go to have an intimate dinner, and Bao's dressed up really nicely. Johnny tells Bao that his friends told him to stay encouraged and to explore more, I guess, of their relationship. Yeah, if you've been with watching this whole process like we have, I wouldn't encourage that at all. I would encourage Bao to leave. Bao is a good person, a strong-willed woman. She's confident. She's successful. I think she really tried in this marriage. It appeared to us that she was the one trying, and I didn't see much effort on Johnny's part at all. He talks, he doesn't even talk a good talk. He just talks, and we're tired of it. So, bye, Johnny. We're done. It's over, and I can't wait to hear a no from both of you on decision day. Okay, next on deck we have Zach and Michaela. Michaela has her sister Sharifa come over for a little bite to eat, and they talk about her marriage to Zach. And she tells her how she was, she's mad that Zach left again. She says that Zach thinks that she's combative. Zach isn't the only one, but that's what Michaela says. She says they have highs and they have lows. They have toxicity is what they have. The two of them don't really see it, because if Zach really, he sees it, but he goes away and he comes back to it, it's just very toxic. And no good is going to come out of them staying together. They definitely need to part ways. They definitely need to work on themselves. Actually, Michaela needs to see a psychiatrist, someone who can prescribe medication on a serious tip. She got serious problems. And Michaela tells her sister that after Zach left and after the meeting with Dr. Pepper, Zach asked her if she wanted to go out to eat. She finds herself over at Zach's house and she spends the night, and we all know what happened there. So Michaela, you're just giving Zach what he really wants. Friends with benefits, and you can dial back the friend part. He just wants the benefits, light on the friendship. And when you're just being used like that, I hope you can see that, and not today, real soon, and you can stop that, because that's not healthy for either one of you. And I know Zach should know better, but I also know he's a guy. And this divorce and then dating won't work. You need to just sever ties with one another and go your separate ways. Zach, though, does meet with Gil. They have a talk about their relationship. And Gil, my goodness, he seems like he was just leading the witness with all his talking he was doing to Zach. But I'm glad he had someone to talk to. I'm glad they both have each other in the apartment building. I think they were at Zach's place at the time. Zach says that this process, this married at first sight process, and a guy like him is what it took for Michaela to see her ways. And I guess Michaela must have told him that. And Michaela says things like this 1 minute and does something the next. When she was talking to Dr. Pepper, she was all agreeable to what Dr. Pepper said right off the bat with no hesitation because it was bull. She was just getting over, agreeing with everything she said, and she was going to do whatever she wanted whenever she wanted to. But she does have a serious problem. I don't know how Dr. Pepper or anybody else missed how deeply broken and unstable this child is. Somebody could not find that. It doesn't even take long for her to strike the way she does. They should have had her in some scenarios. They should they need to interact with these people more, maybe to get a better understanding on who they're putting on board, because they're really getting some less than desirable people. We as viewers don't even enjoy watching these wild people or people who are just not ready, immature people. They just got to do better. Just do better. Because this matchup with this individual, Michaela in particular, was just, it was a major epic failure. No good. Do better next year or next season. I'm glad because this nothing. I'm going to. Okay, moving right along. Let's talk about Rachel and Jose. We first see them, they're talking in bed, and they said they would take a bullet for one another. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. But it's really, really early in the relationship, and I don't know if I could be in a relationship where I would do that. I'd take one for my child, but not. No, I wouldn't do that. Rachel meets with her friend Latrice, I believe her name is. They meet up for drinks, and they talk about the pros and cons in Rachel's marriage. And, she talks about Jose not listening. And a sign when you're not listening, that is disrespect. You don't give a rat's whatever about what the other person's saying, and you're not listening. You dismiss them. That's disrespectful. And another downfall, she says, is that the verbal aggression. These two things, is enough reason to hit the road and don't look back. But we carry on with these two. Rachel told her friend how, what they're doing to improve, what Jose's doing to improve the relationship. And he has all these note cards telling him little reminders of what he needs to do. And her friend says you shouldn't need cue cards or cards all around the house to remind you to be a good person. What is wrong with you? It's so true. If you need that, then you need to go find a therapist. There's a lot of work to be done if you need note cards around the house just to remind you to be a good human being. Jose meets with his friend Emmanuel, and he talks about Rachel and what the pros and cons of Rachel, and he loves that she's a sports fan. He mentions that they've had little disagreements. Does your friend know how you treated your wife, locking her out of the house in the middle of the night? I hope you don't call that a little disagreement. He realized that they have communication issues. So it's good that you're talking about this to a close friend and opening up about some of your flaws. Next, we see Rachel and Jose. They go out to dinner, and while they're at dinner, they talk about their marriage and before their marriage, and Jose said he was bored before marriage. And he blames social media on all the singles. I guess it's happening to show YOLO, living their best life, or you only live once. So they're showing, I guess, exaggerating perhaps on social media how they're really living. Rachel brings up travel. Now, this was really interesting. Rachel says, just because you get married, you don't stop doing the things you did before. You're just going to do it with a partner, like travel with a partner. She wants to go on one big trip every other year. If you have the funds to do that, it's not unreasonable. Now, Jose is extremely apprehensive. He wants to downplay that, talk her out of going on a trip and a big trip and maybe going to Frederickson. I guess it's a place in Texas, and maybe going to Vegas for the first time. It sounds very boring, and Rachel doesn't think that's consider that a trip. No, that's just going away for the weekend. That's not a vacation. A weekend getaway is different than a vacation. So why is Jose so apprehensive about leaving the country? He'll travel to Vegas or whatnot and a little trip here or there, but he doesn't want to go abroad. Every time she mentions it, he gets really weird acting. Why is it that Jose doesn't want to leave the country? Is it that he's afraid that he won't get back in the country? I want to know what his citizenship status is. Is there a problem there that he's not talking about? Because that's what it seems like, the way he acts. Because it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like he's afraid to fly, because he even mentioned going to New York. So those are flights. There's, that you're going to, time you're going to be on an airplane to go to these places. I don't think he meant they were going to drive, but when she talks about leaving the country, he gets really weirded out. I hope they ask that question on the reunion show. What is your problem with leaving the country? They do show Jose and Rachel's last night together, and Rachel says she doesn't really know what her decision is going to be until she sleeps alone at her place. Maybe you should have a good idea of what you're going to do, and I guess she wants just to be away from him to see if she misses him or what have you. She thinks that, to me, I just don't think that's enough. She thinks that he's gotten better with his attitude and his temper or whatnot, but I don't think enough time has passed for her to see a real change in him. That would take a lot of time for what he did. Yeah, that would take probably a year or more. But you don't have that kind of time to make your decision, but that's just not enough time to see if his attitude, his demeanor has seriously changed. But they show Rachel leaving the apartment to go to her own apartment for their last night together before decision day. And as he's walking her to the door and she's walking out, she tells him not to lock the deadbolt just in case. And I thought that was cute. She does have a great sense of humor. Though I wouldn't play like that. I mean, I would play, that's okay to joke around like that, but the fact that he actually locked her out, yeah, he ought to be afraid that it might be a no for that stunt he pulled. But we'll see. Best of luck to them. Okay, the last couple is Gil and Myrla. Myrla's talking to her friend. I don't know her name, how to pronounce it. And she says that Gil is a good one. So, we know that she likes Gil. And Gil is a good one. It's obvious. He's a good, solid, good human being, a good man. But there's drastic differences in their finances, and that it's going to be a problem. That's their only problem that she sees, and she doesn't want to change her lifestyle. And Gil, he wants a woman who's more humble. So that's going to pose a problem. Gil and Myrla they go to roller skating together, and it was really cute. It was like lights out and the neon everything, and Gil, I remember him being a skater in the past, so it was nice to see him doing what he loved to do. I wouldn't mind going skating with Gil. That looks like a fun date. They talk during their skating rink fun. They sit down and talk. And Michaela says she's a fabulous woman, and how could he say no to that? And Gil tells her, it's easy to say no to that because beauty fades. I love a man who thinks like that. That there's more to a woman than her looks. Gil has a problem with her, that she thinks she's made out of gold, that she's a brat and she's spoiled. And the money thing, the money motivating. She says that money motivates her to do the things that she does, and where she comes from is a motivation for her to do better in life. And Gil is just not motivated by money. It's just not his thing. His background, he grew up poor, but I guess they were happy and content and they had what they needed, that they didn't need to go out and buy expensive things to fulfill them. And they found fulfillment in other ways, and that's the best. That's really how you should live. Though I also think that variety is the spice of life, and you should go out and have different life experiences. I just don't think you should be totally materialistic. It's nice to have nice things, but you really don't have to go over the top with it. And even if you do have some expensive items here or there, that's fine too. And in fact, you can be smart about it and get things that will appreciate and not just depreciate as soon as you buy them. But Gil likes to enjoy the little moments of life. He's probably the person that likes to look at sunrises and little things like that. He just appreciates life. And what life has to offer in the little moments, because the little moments are what counts. Gil talks to his mother in Colombia, so they're talking in Spanish and they have subtitles, and he explains how he sees, I guess, his perspective on Myrla. He tells his mother that she's high class and opinionated. And I think she says things like these people, and I think that's a put down, and that's just not Gil's style. And I don't know, he's contemplating, I guess, if that's something he can live with for the rest of his life. That is a big thing. You're totally different people. You're good people, but you're totally different. So can a relationship work? So far, you guys worked out, but they had no real couple struggles, and we don't know how they would really handle it. Everything was kind of smooth sailing. But the money issue is going to be a big thing for Gil. I can see him saying no on decision day, because in his heart of hearts, and he's going to have a heart-to-heart with himself, and he knows that's going to bother him going down the road. So I can see him saying no. One of their last scenes together, they're in bed together and they reflect on their relationship. And Myrla says she has no regrets. And when they spend their night apart, she said she would miss him. So maybe they could stay friends. I don't see why not. But life partners, maybe this isn't the best thing. Because Gil feels strongly about money. Maybe he feels like he should be the man of the house, and he should be able to pay for everything that she wants and needs, or get her needs met mostly. But she wants what she wants, and she's earned the right to have it. And that just might mess with Gil, feeling like a man, a real man, and having his woman make twice as much as him. Maybe that doesn't work for him. It might, even though he's a good, strong character guy, a good man, it just still might mess with his ego. So maybe it's best that Gil can find someone else and be happy with somebody else, because I know there's a woman out there for Gil. He's a great catch, and there's plenty of women out there that would be very happy to have him. Okay, we're going to last in this with their group meetup. The whole cast, all the couples, they meet up together. Brett's there and Ryan. Brett says she hasn't seen Ryan, I guess, since he left the house until now. Gil poses a question to the group. He wants to know what reasons would they have to say no. So Brett mentions that if he didn't have respect or communication, she would say no. Gil says if his wife continues to live like she's single, that's a no. No, the way he structured that sentence, if my wife continues to live like she's single. So she's doing that right now, or what? Ryan says that if he didn't, he's waiting for these feelings again. I really don't want to hear that anymore, because it sounds weird. It sounds childish. Waiting for feelings. I don't. Boy. It takes all kinds. Johnny said if he didn't see potential, that he would say no. Bao mentions that it only takes one person to ruin a marriage. She feels like she was challenged by Johnny. And if she heard a no, it would be hard for her to get over it. Because she's talking, or the group is talking to Zach in his no. No doesn't mean no. No means no because I didn't have a good time up until now, the 8 weeks. But it would be a no, it would be a divorce, and then they can work on a relationship, maybe. I wonder if he really means that, or if he's just trying to find an easy out to let Michaela down easy. It's a no, but maybe we can date, whatever. But yeah, that's ridiculous. And if Michaela wants to do that, then I guess she can. I mean, first of all, they have no business together. No should mean a no, and please exit out of 2 separate doors. They have a serious no. They show the group toasting. They're toasting, I guess, to their last time together, and they're toasting with dark liquor. Ooh, it scares me for Michaela. She could go off. There's another question was posed of what have the couples learned as individuals, and Brett says she learned that she's open-minded. You would have to be to keep carrying on with Ryan and keep trying. You really had to be open-minded and creative just to try to get to him, get him to talk and open up to her. So she was open-minded. She was a good sport. Brett needs a do-over. She deserves it. Rachel says that, that they had one argument, and normally one blow-up would break up anybody she was involved with. And she stayed, and it was for the better. You stayed for the check, because I still cringe the fact that you want to stay with a man that's treated you like that. And you're the person who was weak in another relationship, and that just shows me. I mean, one can say, yes, she talked it out, and then she's giving him a second chance, but he should never do this again, ever. The fact that he did that while the cameras were rolling, it makes me afraid for you when there's nobody around, what he might do. Bao says she's learned patience and to be kinder. Johnny says he's an emotional wreck. Zach says he cried more during this experiment more than he ever has. And he has critical reason skills, but he has learned to think differently. Because when you have a spouse like Michaela and you're trying to work on a relationship, if you're going to stay in the same room or if you're going to keep giving it another try, you would have to think differently, come with a different approach. He learned he had a difficult person to be with, and he did make the most of it. Gil said he was able to be vulnerable, and it was a feeling of being free and giving someone that trust. I like what Gil has to say. I really like Gil a lot. There's not much I don't like about that guy. And Johnny says expect to get hurt, which is real. That is really real. If, a relationship is not just everything's sweet and great. It's life. It's ups and downs, ebbs and flows. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what challenges life will bring. And a life partner should be someone you can go through those hills and valleys with, and hopefully come out as better people, stronger people, a stronger relationship. But you got to build a foundation and build on that. And I don't see too many of these couples even working along those paths of building a strong foundation. The first step in building that strong foundation is you have to give, and there's a lot of tug and pull, and you got to be patient. You got to be strong at times when the other one's weak. And I don't know if we didn't have enough time to see that. I just didn't see that them starting to build a foundation to really have a true relationship and go on with life. So that's going to be it for this review. I guess next week will be decision day. Some of these people can be put out of their misery, which will be great. Some of us viewers as well. I thank you so much for listening. I would like to ask for you to please subscribe to this channel, Living to Do, and like it and possibly share with your friends to help this channel grow. So I'll be back with next week with Decision Day, finally. Well, everyone, that's it for this review. As always, I got to get going because I got living to do. Bye.